So this thing is supposed to replace the flush cutters, the hobby knife, and honestly half of my support removal paint. But the moment I actually believed the marketing was the moment I decided to stop using it the way it's meant to be used. Because if an ultrasonic cutter for 3D prints is actually as capable as it claims, it shouldn't be a support removal tool. It should be able to eat through basically anything I put in front of it. And that's actually what I'm going to find out today. Foam, cardboard, acrylic, even an acoustic panel. And somewhere in there, this thing is either going to earn a permanent spot on my bench or it's going to melt, choke, or straight up embarrass itself on camera. Pixel amici, layer by layer, let's print it. My name is Alessio and this is PixelForge Lab. Before we get into it, one thing. Right now, only 1.7% of you watching this are actually subscribed. If you're enjoying this kind of build, real tests, reviews and upgrades, the subscribe button costs you nothing, and it genuinely helps this channel keep going. That's all I'm asking, let's get back to it. Let's actually open the device first, because I had zero context walking into this beyond wireless ultrasonic cable. And honestly, the box alone raised my expectation higher than I wanted them to go. Inside you get the handpiece, a charging dock, and more than a couple of blade tips. And this is the detail that actually got my attention. A replaceable 21700 battery, 5000 milliamp hours, sitting right in the blade. Most cordless ultrasonic cutters I've seen just weld a battery in and call it a day. So if this one dies in 2 years, I'm not throwing out a $100 tool over a $10 cell. And that's a real point in its favor before I even turned it on. But here's the thing that actually worried me. Every cordless ultrasonic cutter that I've read about, and there are a lot of them out right now, has the exact same complaint attached to it. Heat builds up. The material starts melting instead of cutting. Performance gets unstable, and eventually the whole thing thermal shuts down mid-project. So the real question isn't, can it cut a support structure for 10 seconds? Any of these things can do that. The question is, what happens at minute 6, minute 10, minute 20, when the device has been running long enough to actually heat up? SonicMax claims they solved this with an active cooling system and what they call industry-leading ultrasonic efficiency. And yeah, every company says their thing is industry-leading. So instead of trusting the spec sheet, I decided to just run it until something happened. Good or bad, I wanted an answer. First test, the one it's actually built for. 3D print supports. I printed a batch of parts specifically with obnoxious support structures. 3 supports, dense interface layers, the kind of stuff that normally means 20 minutes with a hobby knife and at least 1 cut on my thumb. And this part genuinely surprised me. The blade doesn't hack through the plastic. It kind of dissolves through it. No cracking, no stress on the part. No white marks where you pried too hard. It just glides. And since I already had this thing in hand, I figured why stop at supports. I printed a full Iron Man helmet as one single piece. The faceplate, the dome, the jaw, all of it fused together. Specifically so, I would have to cut it apart into its individual panels afterward. And that's a much bigger ask than snapping off a support chip. And that's the moment this stopped feeling like a support tool to me and started feeling like an actual prop making tool. The separation finished. Load-bearing geometry along a clean line without chewing up the surface finish. And it worked. The scene came apart clean, no melted edges, dragging across the paint-ready surface. And no cracking along the jawline where the plastic is thinnest. But that's still 3D printed plastic. I moved to foam next, because foam is deceptive. It looks like the easiest material on the bench, and it's one of the ones that actually melts and gums up blades the fastest. If the ultrasonic vibration generates any real heat at the tip, foam is where you will see instantly. And it didn't. The cut line stayed cleaned. No melted edge, no stringing residue on the blade afterward. I went back in for a second and third pass, just to see if repeated cuts would build up heat, and it held. And that's one pain point out. Cardboard was next, and honestly I expected this to be the boring test, but what I actually wanted to see was control. Can I do fine detail work, tight curves, small internal cutouts, or does the blade just plow straight through like a box cut of wood? Turns out it's shockingly precise. I was cutting tight curves freehand and the blade tracked exactly where I pushed it. No drag, no tearing at the corners. This is where I started understanding why they're calling this a for evolved makers tool instead of a just support removal gadget. Now here's where I genuinely didn't know what would happen. Acoustic pedal foam is dense, fibrous and abrasive on a microscopic level. I've seen cheap rosary tools lose their edge on this stuff in minutes. So this was the real stress test. Not because it's hard to cut, but because it's hard to cut consistently over a long session without the blade or motor degrading. I ran a continuous session here specifically to try to trigger the thing every other cordless cutter apparently struggles with. Thermal shutdown. I kept going well past the point where I would expect a cheaper unit to start throttling. Nothing happened. No shutdown, no drop in power. Yeah, the handpiece got warped, sure, but nowhere near I need to stop territory. SonicMax claims in their own internal testing that a competing wireless cutter hit thermal shutdown after 5 minutes or continuous use. While the Slice 10 kept going until the battery itself ran out. I cannot verify their competitor test myself, but based on what I just put it through, I do believe the mechanism behind the claim, the active cooling, is doing something real here. And speaking of things that are supposed to survive way more abuse than they're rated for, that's the perfect excuse to talk about who's backing this build today. This video is obviously sponsored by SonicMax, the makers of the Slice stand itself. And I already showed you the actual bench results before saying a word about the partnership, because that's the only way I'll ever do one of these. What I would like to add on top of the testing you just watched is the stuff that doesn't show up in 10-minute video. Pass-through fast charging meant I could top it up mid-session without waiting around. And the smart material auto detection actually adjusted behavior depending on whether I was on foam versus acrylic versus a printed helmet panel, which is part of why none of my cuts today came out melted or ragged. If runtime and heat actually matters to you, this is worth a look. Links in the description below. Alright, back to pushing this thing somewhere it maybe shouldn't go. Thin acrylic. This is the one I was genuinely nervous about. Acrylic cracks, chips, or melt into a gummy edge if the blade's moving too fast or generating too much friction heat. A bad cut here can shut out the whole sheet. I went in slow, expecting at minimum some edge chipping. It didn't chip. The line came out almost polished, like it has been laser cut. I did a second cut just to rule out a fluke, and got the same result. At that point, I really stopped being surprised and started being genuinely impressed. So here's where I landed. Out of 6 things I threw at it, a full printed helmet, foam, cardboard, acoustic panel, and acrylic, the only place I would say this shows any real limitation is on genuinely thick, rigid stock, which isn't what it's built for anyway. Everything in its actual lane, and even stuff clearly outside it. This handled better than I expected walking in. The heat and shutdown problem that plagues basically every cordless ultrasonic cutter right now, I could not get it to happen, no matter how long I ran this thing. But does that mean it's a magic tool that replaces every blade in your shop? No, of course not, and I would be lying if I said otherwise. But as a genuine cross between a support removal tool and a legitimate general workshop cutter, this earned a spot on my bench, not just a spot in a drawer after the review is done. Alright, all of the links, models, filaments, and printers I used to make this video happen are in the box below. And if you do use the affiliate links, that will help to keep the channel's lights on. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and comment your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I'll catch you on the next one. Hey.